Today we have two contenders for Action Camera of the Year. GoPro's new Hero 10 Black and DJI's magnetic modular masterpiece, the Action 2. Both cameras give us the highly sought after 4K 120 frames per second and upgraded stability modes. But which one do you think should take the title? The GoPro Hero 10 has a nice solid housing with some strategically placed rubber edges on the front and back for security. And it looks like they're keeping the nifty fold-away brackets on the bottom for people that don't want to add a bulky cage to their camera. And let's not forget the two things that help make this camera an all-around action camera workhorse: the replaceable glass and the front-facing screen. The DJI Action 2 is using its size to its advantage by being a fully functional camera in just a tiny top modular piece that's practically unnoticeable in certain situations. And either of the bottom two modules offered provides additional battery power, and one offers a front-facing screen. The magnetic attachments for the Action 2 give it more options to quickly stage the camera on any metal surface available, and save time by not having to screw on the standard action camera accessories. As far as the physical downfalls from these two cameras, there's not much to complain about. The GoPro Hero 10 is pretty heavy and already fairly large in size, and the Action 2 is so small and smooth that you need to be extra careful when handling it so you don't drop it. The main downfall of the physical qualities of the Action 2 has to be the permanent glass. If you do accidentally drop this tiny camera, there's a good chance you're going to crack the glass that covers the whole front of this camera. What's going on inside these cameras is what's putting them on top of the action camera list. The GoPro Hero 10 almost has too much to list, but we'll go over some of the highlights. Tucked away inside their nice organized menu on their more responsive touchscreen, you'll find the most talked about feature of the Hero 10, and that's the 5.3K cinematic video mode that can be used in 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. This feature, along with the new color modes, is a game changer for GoPro because it draws a whole new crowd to the camera that rely on these cinematic functions. Another cinematic option that GoPro is giving us is the choice of lens sizes. From 39mm to the SuperView 16mm, you have pretty much any field of view covered. The stability modes GoPro gives us is the hyper-smooth technology you're used to, along with an extra boost with their new boost mode for extreme rough terrains or bumpy rides. I already know about the 4K 120 frames per second, and it works great. Photo mode in the Hero 10 is going to give you 23 megapixels to play with, along with some nice auto selections such as night photo mode. Some people won't take advantage of the photo mode in the Hero 10, but I think if you give it a shot, you'll find it's a great backup camera to rely on while you're out in the field. Another feature worth mentioning is the time-lapse menu. You get a time warp/hyperlapse mode, a standard fully customizable time-lapse mode, and a pretty decent night-lapse mode. In case that's not enough, GoPro has a schedule capture feature for video, photos, and time-lapse that you can set to start recording at a certain time, and the camera will turn off and tell you to go away because it's going to handle the rest. I know with this list of pros from the GoPro Hero 10, it's going to be hard for the DJI Action 2 to stand up to. But DJI played it safe and kept their popular D-Cine-alike mode for color corrections and their standard D-Warp mode to keep out any fisheye effect. The menu is pretty much the same as the original Osmo Action that came out a few years ago. It's not as easy as the GoPro to make changes in the different video modes though. Everything is pretty much spread out as far as changing the resolution, ISO, shutter speeds, etc. The most notable feature DJI added to the Action 2 is the 4K 120 frames per second, which produces some excellent results as expected. Up until a recent firmware release, the Horizon Steady mode wasn't even available in 4K. Luckily, DJI corrected that. The last notable feature that the Action 2 has is an upgraded Rocksteady stabilization, which competes with GoPro's new Boost mode. It's hard to see in the sample footage who does it better because they both look great. The last thing I think we should quickly cover for these cameras is the mobile app that's available for each. The GoPro Quik app isn't as easy to get around like their camera menu is, but it seems to be easy to connect to and pretty responsive when you're not too far away. The only thing I don't like is the preview goes away when you start recording, but I suppose they were taking your phone's battery into consideration when they made that. The DJI Mimo app is pretty much the same other than having issues supporting this new camera. DJI doesn't offer a Google Play Store app yet, so you have to download it directly from DJI, and make sure you delete your old app first. I actually like the layout on the screen, and the controls better than the camera menu itself, and the ability to preview what you're recording in all the modes. The one downfall with the Mimo app has always been connecting quickly with Bluetooth and iPads, so hopefully we can get some more helpful firmware updates for that in the future. In conclusion, it's pretty obvious that GoPro Hero 10 put out a more impressive camera in terms of production and features. But we'll have to see if DJI sticks with this new design and tries to add more features in their new camera. Which reminds me of something I forgot to mention: overheating. Both cameras get very hot, especially the Action 2 since it's packed into that tiny space. I don't think DJI can add any more technology to this camera unless they create some form of cooling system or redesign the whole structure of the camera. I have a feeling this might be DJI's only release of this modular system. Hopefully I didn't miss anything for each of these cameras. There's so much to cover for both. Let me know down below what you think of either of these cameras, or maybe you prefer a more versatile camera like the Insta360. I wouldn't necessarily rule any of them out because they all offer something unique to your footage. Until then, we'll see you again in the great digital outdoors.